I'm very nervous about this video being met with criticism. Hi, my name is Angela, if you are new here, and today I'm going to be doing a story time while I do my makeup. I'm going to be sharing my story on how I became a mom of two under two over 40 years old. If you're interested, keep on watching. I have two sons. Christian is 2.5, and Anthony is 4 months old. And I just turned 42. Before we get started, any disrespectful comments will be blocked. Okay, brows already done. Everything on my face is going to pop up on the screen and will also be linked down in the description bar. So, I was browsing Instagram one day last week, and there was an article about, for the first time in history, more women in their 40s having babies than in their teens. Not a bad thing, right? In comparison to the 90s, the overall teen pregnancy rate has fallen by I don't know, it has fallen about 60%, over 60% since the 90s. And obviously women having babies over 40 has tripled. I'll make sure I link the article down in the description bar so you guys can go read it yourself if you are interested. Oh. Yeah. My fave these days. I apply too much foundation. This foundation, a little goes a long way, and I really like that. Anyhow, I'm not sure why, but I decided to go and read the comments on the post on Instagram about more moms having babies older. And I don't know, I'm not gonna say I was surprised, because I have faced criticism in person about my age and deciding to have a baby. At this time, I was in my late 30s. I mean, I'm no stranger from people poking fun or giving negative criticism about choosing to have kids later, or I'm not gonna say choosing, but having kids later in life. You know, people always have something to say. So, but I will say that whenever I read those comments on the Instagram post, that I was, I don't know, I guess in a way kind of disgusted, because people are just so quick to judge without really knowing the why behind people's decision. So with that being said, I wanted to share my story. Again, I'm a 42-year-old mom of two under two, and it's kind of wow. I guess one, because I'm 42, I don't feel old, because in the comments and things like that, people make it seem like that is ancient. And I know I'm on the older side, obviously, going through having a baby at this age. All of the things come up about the risks. So I guess let's just start from the very beginning. Growing up, I never wanted kids. I would say my late, I'm preteen to teen. I never wanted any children. And the main reason was because we're the oldest, and we had to help my mom and dad because we had a large family and they needed to work. So we were kind of stuck helping raise our younger siblings. And so I kind of knew early on that kids were a lot of work. And it gave me this feeling of, man, I can't do what I want to do. So I'm like, I don't want no part to that. So that was my disposition kind of early on about children. And in addition to feeling that way, I kind of knew that I would wait until I knew early on that if I did have children, obviously, I would wait and do it when the time is right, when I had most things in my life together, like married, for like being married. My stepdad, which I really never looked at like a stepdad. I don't really like how I did that. My stepdad was older than my mom by many years, and he was very traditional, had a very traditional mindset. And so him and my mom, because my mom didn't want us making the same kind of mistakes that she made, my parents really instilled in us to wait until we were married before having children. That is something that was always encouraged and talked about very openly in our household. I'm not familiar with this Tarte sculpt tape, so I'm just going to blend it out. This is my second time using this classic base brush by Sonia G, and I really like it. So I'm imagining this Tarte sculpt tape is similar to the Charlotte Tilbury, which I love. I've been having this in my collection like for 2 years and I never used it. That's what motherhood can do to you. The contour, it just didn't matter. It just didn't matter. I wouldn't contour nothing. So fast forward, I meet Charles. And Charles and I met, I want to say I was 19 or 20 years old, something like that. And we dated for 4 years before we got married. By that time, I got married when I was 24, and we discussed having children. At that time, we knew that we weren't going to have children right then, but we knew that at some point we were going to have children. Charles always vocalized that he wanted children from the very beginning, and I didn't necessarily, it was not a big deal to me at that time, because remind you that I was, just 2 years or a year or two removed from home, and I kind of felt like I've always had to kind of prioritize my siblings versus myself. So I was in no rush to have children. Anyway, we dated, got married 4 years later. We are living our life, being married, enjoying each other, focusing on what we want to progress in, focusing on what we want out of life, like all of the other things that we want out of life, career, education, all of this stuff. We focused on that. And again, having a good time, because we did have a good time. One day, I want to say I was 27 years old. I just looked up one day. I was like, oh, look at that itch. I was like, I'll be 30 soon. No baby. I've been married. And so, once you get married, people will start asking you the baby questions. I mean, you're married now. Let's pop those babies out. And I already knew that is not what that's not what I had planned. Anyway, I wake up. I'm almost 30. I got the itch. Oh my God. I go to the doctor. My doctor at the time didn't seem to be very concerned at all, because I wasn't really like charting my cycle or anything like that. We was just having unprotected intercourse over this time. It just that we never became pregnant. So the first thing that we did was chart my cycle. And then we would do timed intercourse based on when they thought I may be ovulating. That's all we did. And then, of course, I want to say like after 3 or 6 months or something like that, no pregnancy. So the next thing that we did was Clomid. We did Clomid to kind of give you ovulation, but they said we have to be careful because in my family history, we have twins, and sometimes Clomid can make you produce more than one egg in a month. So that was something that we had to make sure that we considered. I'm a twin, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew that. I'm a twin, and I also have twin younger brothers. My mother had 2 sets of twins. I want a little bit more of that contour. It shears out really beautifully. I like it. Where was I? We tried Clomid for a few more months. And, we tried the Clomid for a few months, still no pregnancy. At that point, the doctor had started to, have some concern. So what we did next was some testing. So they can go in and do different testing to see what your ovarian reserve, your ovarian reserve, your hormones, if you have any diseases, just check you for everything. And so we did that and found out that there's something wrong with my, found out that I could potentially have an issue with my fallopian tubes based off of some the results of my I love this Huda Beauty liquid blush, by the way. Love it. It's another very forgiving formula. Based on the results of my blood work, they determined that I wasn't ovulating regularly, but like my ovarian reserve and all of that stuff was good. And there could potentially be an issue with my fallopian tubes. Obviously, nobody wants to hear that. But So then we do a procedure where they go in and they put like some dye in your tubes to see if they're open or closed, right? So one of mine was open and one of them was closed. No, one of them was partially open and one of them was closed. But I guess whatever they did, they were able to open them up. So we just start trying again. Just doing, trying to chart the ovulation and stuff like that and try to conceive naturally. But we never did. So we just put it on the back burner. We start living our best life again. I'm focusing on my career in accounting and I'm doing pretty good. We are living our best life. We are moving on up. Things are progressing. And it's kind of like it was out of sight, out of mind. And I guess it was something that I guess it was too hurtful to deal with, because it's like I've already done all of these things and I'm still not pregnant. Still. With the Clomid and that procedure for the fallopian tubes and, trying to time it and everything. I mean, at this point, it had been like 3 years. So again, I wake up one day. Oh my God. I am 35. I'm 35 and my career is going great. Money is good. All those other intangibles, everything's great. But I felt like there was something missing. And I always knew that Charles wanted children. And even though he said, it is what it is, but I know he wanted children. That's something that we've talked about from the very beginning. So, it was kind of like that switch that light bulb went off again. I'm back at the fertility clinic. We take all of the paperwork from my first fertility doctor to this new doctor. And they review our case and decide that we would be candidates. The best, considering my age, waste no time. The best option for me at this point is IVF. 2018 consisted of multiple diagnostic procedures to figure out what's going on with the body so that I can be prepared to even go into IVF and then to having a baby. Christmas time, 2018, is when I got ready to start my IVF treatment plan. And in hindsight, there were a lot of things that were missing, a lot of questions, a lot of preparation that could have been done that wasn't, because we just jumped right into it so fast. I met with Dr. Stegman. Like 2 weeks later, on a Friday, I was to start my injections so that we can harvest my eggs. And that Friday, I'm on my way home, the day I'm supposed to start, and they tell me Dr. Stegman has been released from the practice. This kind of put a damper on the whole process, because I really felt comfortable with Dr. Stegman, and I felt safe and I felt heard, and things just got off to a rough start. So here we are at the beginning of 2024. This is when we're going to do what's called our egg retrieval. They took out 27 eggs. There was a lot of things that didn't go right. I would want to say that I was left with 7 embryos. Those embryos went off for testing, for genetic testing. All we had was 3 embryos out of the 7 that were that passed the testing. This testing is looking for chromosome abnormalities, things like, Down syndrome and all different other types of syndromes that could be detrimental to the mother or the child. Out of the 3, We used two. We had two embryo transfers. Both failed. They didn't work. This is kind of bird's eye view. There's a couple of things which may be in my next video, you guys. If you guys receive this information and you want to hear about it, then the next video would be like the nitty-gritty of IVF, like everything that you kind of go through. But this is just high level of how things got stretched out from me being 35 to now 42, and just now having, you know, with my two sons. By the time we actually have the egg retrieval, I'm 36 years old. And 36 and almost 36 and a half by the time we finished with the two embryo transfers. Like I said, neither one of them worked. It's going into the next year at this point. I'm about to be 37. So we've done two embryo transfers from our first IVF procedure, and we walked away empty-handed. It's kind of like a year and a half worth of diagnostic procedures, and then the actual process to get from A to Z. And we could have done it a lot faster, like the embryo transfer part, but I just wasn't ready. Because another thing that happened after the second failed embryo transfer, my dog had passed away like the next month. So that's 2019. That's the end of 2019. I wanted to throw 2019 away. 2019 was probably the hardest year of my entire life, for sure. For sure. And so we took a big trip at the end of the year, decided to recollect ourselves. And I guess kind of shift our focus on something else that we wanted to achieve. And that's exactly what we did. Because in 2020, we bought our house. In 2020, that's when COVID hit. In 2020, in March, we bought our house. Everything got locked down. We knew that we was going to try IVF again, or at least I did. Actually, I'm not even going to say that. Initially, I was unsure because the process is so painful, emotionally, physically, financially. I just didn't know if I had it in me to do it again, to be honest. And there's a lot that goes into it. There's just so much that goes into it. So 2020, we are doing well. We've bought our first house. We're happy. We've got projects. You know, unfortunately, COVID hit, so we couldn't share our first house with everyone, but it gave us something to share together and to be excited and happy about together. Because in addition to buying your first home, we had to do projects on our own, and it really created a space for us to really bond and connect as a couple again. And I really enjoyed that period in our relationship. 2020 comes to an end. And we always talk about like what our next focus is. So the baby conversation comes up again, and I'm thinking about it. At first, I was like, you know what? We tried and it didn't work. And I have to be okay with that. Trying to be okay with that. And I just wasn't. And in my gut, I felt like I needed to try one more time. I needed to try one more time. So, how old am I now? 38. We found our new doctor, Dr. Griffith, and he's amazing. He made me feel heard. He made me feel comfortable. He made me feel like he had our back. He takes all the information from our old clinic and reviews it, looks at it, determines and comes up with a treatment plan based off of our previous results. I produced a lot of egg. It's just that the quality of the eggs weren't good, and I'll get into why in a different video. The quality of the eggs, it wasn't good. So his treatment plan addressed that. So fast forward to July 2021. We have our egg retrieval. Everything went great. And mission accomplished as far as focusing on quality over quantity. Everybody's happy. Things are going smooth. We're still working from home because COVID, and my stress is low. I'm in a great mood. We're in a great place. Everything is good. We were in no rush. We were taking baby steps. The eggs are already here. That at that point was going to be the age of the embryos, whether I transferred them 2 years or 3 years. Obviously, your physical health also matters too, but I'm just saying the age of the embryo would be unchanged. Fast forward to January 2022, we do our third embryo transfer, and it worked. I want to say if it was in February, it was like the week after my birthday, I found out that I was indeed pregnant with our 2.5-year-old Christian. Pregnant with Christian. The pregnancy went smoothly. And we're on cloud 9 because by this time, you guys, we have been married for a long time. This is something that we've always wanted coming true, and we were on cloud 9. I think that being pregnant with Christian was the happiest part in my life, was the happiest moments of my life while pregnant with Christian. Everything in the pregnancy was great. I was happy. We were in our home. I mean, what did I have to be upset about? What did I have? I was on cloud. I was perfect. Got pregnant with Anthony 2 years later in March. Got pregnant with Anthony in March 2024. Yeah, March 2024. And he was born in November. And right now he's 4 months old. He was born whenever I was 41 years old. If I could change anything about what I did or didn't do, it would be to take action sooner than I did, especially once I got over 30. I was too busy focusing on my career and not really taking it seriously because deep inside I was still scared to have a baby. But again, I knew that I'm not going to say I knew I needed to have a baby, but if I didn't pursue this, I feel like I was going to look back on my life with regret. Yeah, that's what I would say. I think that I would have looked back on my life and had regret for not trying to have a family, because there's so much joy in children. I can really say that now that I have them, but at the same time, there's a lot of joy. But honey, I'm tired. I be tired. I sure do. But I love them. I would have taken action sooner. I think that maybe my ideal age would have been having both of my kids between 32 and 35. You know what? I'm missing a huge factor in this whole thing. One of the other reasons why we really didn't pursue IVF whenever I was 27, because we didn't have like really good insurance, and it was going to cost it was going to cost like $40,000, and we couldn't afford it. So that's another big reason why we didn't pursue it sooner. We could not afford. It would have been like a mortgage on top of whatever we were paying for rent. So we couldn't afford to do it. And once I got into my 30s, like more towards my mid 30s, we could afford it. And that's our story. We didn't pursue it sooner initially because we couldn't afford it. And then after we could afford it, I was focusing on my career, and that's on me. I should have been focusing on my family. More on my family. Because I kind of feel like I'm blessed and I'm lucky, because I know that there are so many women out there still waiting, still wanting children, and they haven't had them yet, considering my age. Wait, let me make sure I'm expressing myself properly. I feel blessed and I feel lucky and extremely appreciative because, number one, we could afford it. There's many ladies out there in two different situations. Either they just can't afford it and they want to have children, or they are paying the money. They're going through it, or not paying money, but they're going through the IVF process, which takes money. And it's just not happening. And I really feel for those ladies. So I'm very blessed to have both of our boys. And again, if I could have done it over and done it sooner, then that's what I would have done. In the comments of that video, not the video, it was an article on Instagram, but it's also just like online. People are very critical. And it's like, people don't take things seriously anymore. Like, I'm not gonna say people don't take people seriously anymore. I think it's the lack of face-to-face that gives people like this green light to taunt and be nasty and be mean, because more than likely they would not be acting like that in person. You know, they wouldn't be acting, at least not to that degree, the kind of stuff that some of these people were saying. I have been told that by other people of color, remind you, that IVF is a white man's experiment. Yeah. I trust. This is a topic that I did not talk about because I was ashamed. And I'm not ashamed anymore. I shouldn't have been ashamed at all. But people just can be very critical and not positive at all. in the matter. I do have some words of advice, and maybe even some tips. Maybe I should share tips, because that whole process is unlike any other. And one of my other things that I was having a challenge with within the IVF journey was identifying with someone who looks like me, that's also going through it, that I could lean on, and that just wasn't there. So maybe I could be that for somebody else. You know what I just thought about? My grandmother had my mother older. I want to say she was over 35 whenever she had my mom. And I don't think people made it a big deal. I do know more women are having kids older now, more frequently, because women have options. And I do also feel for women that's, they decided to put their education or career first, and now they're trying to find an eligible black bachelor. And I heard it was rough. I heard it was rough out there. So maybe it's just taking a longer time for them to find a partner. I wonder if anybody's ever considered that. It's just taking a longer time to find a partner. And people want to be more financially stable. And I could tell you personally, for myself, that was a main thing for me. Is when we had children, I wanted to have stability for them, and stability in more than one way. Like, I did want to be in a home. I wanted to have them, where they could have space to play outside. And I wanted to be married first and foremost. And I'm not saying that that's the answer to everything, or that's going to prevent everything. I'm not saying that, but I wanted to at least go into the situation in what I was raised, how I was raised to be correct. I think I already said this, but I mean, truly the only thing that I would change is if I would have acted with more urgency a few years sooner. That is the only thing that I would change. Christian and Anthony, our sons, are the best thing that ever happened to us. And I really felt like when we did when we decided to do IVF a second time, I didn't want to have no regrets. That I didn't try one more time. Because I had told myself that if we did IVF again, I worked out, took my supplements, did exactly what the doctor told me to do, the timing, I did everything immaculate. And if it didn't work, then it's God's will. But I just had to give it one more go. And when I look back in comparison to the first time versus the second time, I had such a calm over me. I had such a calm. I was in such a place. So yes, I'm an old mom. I'm 42 years old with a 2-year-old, 2.5-year-old, and a 4-month-old, and I'm tired. But the crazy thing is that no matter the age, everybody is like, we tired. Because, honey, them toddlers, man. Christian to make you question everything when he's done with you. I don't want to make my child sound absolutely terrible, but some days, man, he is he does all his tricks, everything that he do. Sometimes he'll do it all in one day, and I'm like, okay, now look. Mommy finna pop. Then when he's asleep, you just look at him like, oh, he's such an angel. Sleep like an angel. Are any of you ladies an older mom? I would love to know. I would be lying if I didn't say I didn't have any concerns. Like about my age for like later in life, whenever we're older, of course I have concerns. I want to be here for him. I want to be here for them as long as possible. I want to be a grandma one day. And I mean, God willing, I live a long life. I'm very aware that we're older, and every day we try to live right. We lead by example, and we're going to pour into them daily, every day that we're here on this earth, and prepare them for the future as much as possible. Now that I think about it, I've always been ashamed of my age. And I think that not having kids had a lot to do with it. Actually, not only that, I guess not being where you think you should be in life, not being where you think you should be in life. So I was always ashamed of my age. We hadn't bought a house. We hadn't had children. We haven't done any of those things that you do. Like, I felt like I should be more accomplished. So I never liked talking about my age. It's a very vulnerable subject matter, but that's my truth. And for the rest of my life, I'm gonna live it. I haven't put on my Chanel pattern in some time. I have like, I don't know how many backups of the old formula. And while I was away having babies, I had 2 babies in 2.5 years. I know they discontinued my Givenchy loose powder, but I just honestly just couldn't be concerned about loose powder, honey, because life was lifing. Oh, I can't believe I just sat here and just told you guys all of that. Anyway, let's bronze up the face. Where is she? This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer, shade number 4. To be honest, I'm very nervous about this video being met with criticism, because the world can be a very, very mean place. So pretty. This Pat McGrath blush. This Pat McGrath blush came out like, what, 3 years ago? And it's that really bright pink and the watermelon shades and, you know, all those really bright colors. Yeah, she did that a couple of years ago. I just went ahead and applied my lashes offline. These are the Lash Couture Masterpiece in Avant Garde Kiss lashes. These are really cute. I really like these. Do you guys wear lashes, or do you just wear mascara every day? I'm about to start wearing more mascara because I've been using like this serum on my lashes to help them grow. So I kind of need to lay off the lashes, which I don't wear them every day. But did you guys see the article, like just organically on social media, or is this the first time you are encountering this information about older moms? And what's your position? Like, what do you think? A lot of people think a lot of things, and to be honest, I'm not quite sure why. I guess if you put it out there, then people can criticize, I guess. But what does it matter that someone's a little bit older? I mean, I do understand that it's being there for them later in life and things like that. I do understand it. And I have an extreme awareness, as I mentioned previously, about my age and wanting to make sure that I'm here to raise my sons and to become a grandmother. So I'm just gonna wing it here. I'm gonna take this Charlotte Tilbury lip liner. What's the name of this? Hollywood Honey. And this is my ColourPop BFF. Let's see. Okay, I'm just trying something. I'm gonna use this YSL. What is this? It's the number 6, the new plumping lip gloss. That came out cute. I decided that I'm gonna go ahead and take my hair down with you guys on camera. Caudalie Beauty Elixir, been using it for years, you guys know. I am currently dealing with postpartum shedding, so please don't come for me in my edges, because they're actually have grown back quite a bit because they were completely missing. I mean, it's completely bald. So what I have been using is working, and I'm going to share that in another video. I just got this Sonia G Face Pro, and I love it. It's a really great powder brush, and I cannot wait to get that jumbo foundation brush. Have you guys tried it? So that is basically going to wrap up the how I became a mom. It is a very dynamic journey. There's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows, there's a lot of criticism from people, jokes mainly, but yeah, I love my kids and I'm glad they're here. We both are in agreement on how we want to raise them. We're in a good place in life. We're level-headed, to be honest. just me and how I was. And, you know, I couldn't imagine having a baby in my 20s because I wasn't ready in my 20s for sure. I had a lot of growing up to do. And I couldn't imagine trying to do that with a little one. And obviously, throughout life, we're going to continue to grow and change. But I couldn't imagine trying to do that in my 20s. I mean, because being a mother, it has many challenges. You guys know that. And to be ill-equipped, and then the finances, I think that's the part for me is one of the things that was just most important, I don't want to like be in a position where I couldn't get what our kids needed. Like, I wanted to be more financially stable. I didn't want to experience that hard struggle that I see so many people endure. I just didn't want that. I wanted to be more stable. So I would have waited regardless. I would have waited until I was a little bit older, regardless, just based off of how I wanted to live my life. Like, I want to be able to take family vacations. That's something that we didn't do growing up because the money wasn't there and there were too many of us. I want to be able to be comfortable, have the things that we need and some of the things that we want. So, yeah. A lot of people say, oh, well, when I'm 40 years old, I'm going to be living my life. I mean, yeah, that's cool, but I've lived my life in my 20s and my 30s, and I had a great time. I enjoyed my 20s and my 30s. I've done it all. I did it all. I have no desire for, like clubs and partying a lot and stuff. And I've done all of that stuff. So if you guys have any suggestions for postpartum shedding, please do share. My hair is shedding a lot, and I hope it stops soon because I would really love to have some left. All right, that is going to wrap up this Get Ready With Me. I hope you guys enjoyed my story time. If you like videos like this, please comment down below and let me know. And while you're here, please go ahead and check out one of my other videos.